coupons, we see quite a big lift in conversion and activation, and then also as a result, retention and engagement within our product. It's just pretty cool what we're able to do. If it's, I thought of another example, if it's a high pollen count, then we push out Allegra or Claritin offers.
You do that by location?
Yeah, so it'll be like I know Brainify is another AI program that you can plug into for content that will tell you popular events in town or weather, things like that. Is it the time of day? So would you more likely want a morning offer for breakfast or nighttime offer before bed? So we've seen high conversion when we do more personalized offers. There's still room for both. Obviously, sometimes you want to be spontaneous and talk about holidays or just generic messages, but the ones running on AI definitely convert better.
Mm-hmm. Is your AI also optimizing towards revenue? Like, does it monetize better than you would if you were just creating your own rules?
For that particular personalization, no, but there are other ones that have been built around optimizing. If there are a lot of coupons left for one offer, then they might be pushed to the landing page experience higher up. I don't know how much we still use that machine learning, but I know in the past that's been an experiment. See what happens.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
The monetization part, or
oh no.
the user experience part?
Yeah. Just how, like, what were some of the results that you've seen since applying the AI?
Oh yeah, so we would see, so sometimes we run like A/B tests, for example, back to like voice recognition, feature, we use it as a user feature and we will run A/B tests to see how users respond in a standard situation. So for example, if we launch a new algorithm of the voice recognition and we assume it's better, with better accuracy, then we will launch also a new version of our Facemoji app. Usually we update our app on a bi-weekly basis. So we will then test, users' frequency, of using this new voice recognition feature. So hypothetically, if a user of the old version uses it like 4 times a day, and if with the new version they use it 5 times a day, then we will know that they prefer this new feature, which means the new algorithm is more accurate. So based on, the user data, we can tell actually a lot of user behavior and how well they accepted this new feature.
How often are people using it?
Yes.
It's 4 a day. Is that like a normal?
Yeah, that's a reasonable number. Yeah.
Yeah. What's like the high end?
So it really varies. So like my parents, for example, they are also using Baidu keyboard back in China. Back in China, our keyboard is like the 400 million monthly active user ones. So like myself, I don't use voice input that much. I think surprisingly interesting is that I think kids, they use voice input a lot. And also my parents, they're like older people, they don't know how to type in, so they are inclined to use those features more often. And also in China, we have this really cool like digital assistant named the DuerOS, something similar to the Google Home. So we find that children, especially young kids, they are more accustomed to using this feature by saying 小度小度 is like the trigger word. Then they can maybe ask our DuerOS to switch on the TV or play like a particular music or something. So yeah, it really varies different population. Yeah.
That's so interesting. Do you feel like there are situations where like the kids know how to work it better than the parents?
I think they don't have any legacy of like the input, because maybe the young people, they already get used to typing in. But if you have like a user, they don't have this history or the legacy of typing in. They are more open, to these new changes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And this leads me to my next question. So how do you think different types of users are reacting to this? Like, is everybody just universally like, this is the best thing ever, I'm so excited? Or are some people kind of giving you different types of feedback?
Yeah, it varies. So as I mentioned, so it's like a different age type, and also in different geos, people will react it in a very different way. Like keyboard business, for example, why I would say our business is particularly successful in Japan, I think is because the Japanese population, they like emoji, those AR, kamoji, and also they like those cute scans and themes of the keyboard, and they want to customize it it to show how different their personality is. But I would say in the English-speaking world, maybe people care more about the product feature, like voice recognition, how accurate it is, or how fast you can switch on some particular, I would say, user feature. So it really varies from different culture.
That's interesting. And so when you make I should have asked you this earlier. When you make the when you make the Bitmoji, does it like make you look like an ideal version of I mean, I'm just imagining like my own Bitmoji, and like I think it looks exactly like me, obviously. And my husband looks at it and he's like, "You don't look like that at all."
Yeah,
like, does it like make you look like? Does it make you look like the way that you would have inputted it in yourself?
It also varies, geo from geo. Like I'm originally come from China, so I would say the young audience there like to look always like how do you say, paler or slimmer, things like that. But I kind of feel the Western audience they would appreciate like more fun or humor kind of how do you say AR emoji. Like we just launched a partnership with Paramount. So when their Bumblebee movie was coming out in China, so we made this smart, like 360 kind of, AR emoji. It's like a bumblebee. It's like how do you say? It's like an Iron Man kind of, thing. It's like yes. So like the Transformers thing. So it's different, yes, based on the culture.
That's cool. Ashley, what about you? How have your users responded?
I thought you were going to ask about my Bitmoji, but that's okay.
I mean, you can share that. You can share that too.
I also think it looks like me, and I'm sure it really doesn't. It just has blonde hair. So our users respond differently. I think what we've been able to do is segment out a lot based on just continual learning and experimentation. So personalized offers are great, but we choose a very engaged segment to send them to. So you have to be clipping coupons a certain amount of times per month. You have to be engaging with the app a certain times a month in order to get those, just because we do not want to risk being a little bit creepy. So if you don't engage with the experiences often, you get our more generic coupons, and we're just consistently learning like how often should we switch people back into those segments, should we make the segments bigger, smaller. But so far, like I said, with retail, personalization is almost an expected practice now, so no one has been too much of a hater on it, I would say.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, everyone. The few questions that we don't have time for, so you're ready if they find you in the hallway, do relate to personalization, specifically, how do you avoid the creepy factor, and related with GDPR and CCPA, how does that impact what you're doing in AI for data collection? But everyone, let's give a nice round of applause for our wonderful panelists. Thank you.